ain't, because in my world, I'm supposed to hear that as a disrespect, but you add them.
No, I'm just telling you that I'm starting to think you might be
and I'm starting to think that you can't fight.
And that is exactly what a
That's
retard would
a reality,
say.
though.
I've never denied that.
Okay, then. So that's not what a retard would say.
No, it is what a retard would say. The thing a retarded person do, or just a very stupid person would do, is that they would get involved in a conversation about something that has nothing to do with race and then make it about race because they don't know any other lens to think about it.
Make it about race, y'all make it about race. Just like I mentioned the black on black crime.
This is a retarded argument.
When I said black on black crime, but the guns is coming, it's funneled through by the white folks, you said that is not true.
Well, yeah, I don't think white people are like distributing guns to black people. Black people are buying guns with their own money from gun stores and then killing each other with them.
How they get in here?
You're asking like why there are gun stores?
Well, AK-47s. You think all that shit come from the black community? You think that's something that's manufactured?
There are AK-47s available for sale at gun stores.
Do you think that shit is manufactured in the black community?
It doesn't need to be manufactured in the black community in order for it to make its way to the black community.
How does a lot of that shit get here?
People buy it and then they smuggle it to other states.
So you think it's just all internal, just U.S.? You don't think?
But I think most of these guns are like in Mexico. Most of the guns that the cartels use in there are manufactured in America.
I talk about the cartels.
I know, but I'm saying most guns are manufactured in America largely.
I don't know. I don't know what they got going on.
Find out. That's the whole thing about the internet.
I don't know what they got going on down there.
Are most of the guns in America manufactured in America? Yes, the majority of firearms available for sale in the United States are manufactured domestically. So look, we could actually find out.
Who's in control of the manufacturing of guns in America?
Probably the gun manufacturers.
And that's predominantly what type of people? What race of people?
Probably people who've worked within the gun manufacturing community.
Predominantly what race of people?
Oh, I don't know. You want me to ask that?
If you had to take a guess.
I wouldn't guess about something like that. I would look up the information because I care about the truth.
So, okay, percentage-wise, do you think it's a higher percentage that is white than black that's manufacturing guns in America?
I wouldn't want to guess. Well, I wouldn't want to guess.
You wouldn't want to guess?
No, I don't have any kind of knowledge about that. I've never seen the inside of a gun manufacturer.
You guessed on the men in prison and women in prison.
No, I just already knew that.
And you should already know that the higher percentage of people in America manufacturing guns are more Caucasian than black.
No, I don't know. I mean, if that is true, then it seems like the black community should probably get into gun manufacturing because a lot of black people would probably like to buy guns from black gun manufacturers. If there was a black-owned gun brand...
You're twisting it, we're not going. Now, that's part of what you just did.
No, it isn't.
Because you know what I'm
Black-owned businesses are frequently successful largely because the black community chooses to support them. So I think if you really are the business mogul that you say you are, you should stop pretending to sell diapers and you should start a black-owned gun company.
I don't pretend nothing. Little dude, you want to put some money on it?
What? Why don't you start a gun company?
I don't pretend nothing.
Why don't you start a gun company?
Just because your little pea mind don't see it, don't mean it ain't moving. I don't pretend nothing. You be up here with these old motherfucking zero-ass dudes who report to the hood every day. I don't pretend shit.
So why don't you start a gun brand?
When you dealing with this kind of business, right, it moves different. I don't pretend shit.
It's been 8 years.
What? It's been 4 or 5 years. I'm good.
But where are we going to get the diapers?
I'm good.
All I'm saying, I'm not investing in your black-owned gun brand if it's going to move at the rate that the diaper brand has been moving. Because it's probably a lot easier to make diapers than guns.
I bet you. Okay, I got a bet for you.
Sure.
We just talking about no jumper.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bet what has generated more money in the last 12 months? Again, we talking about just as a company, whether it's U.S., whether it's Mexico, whether it's overseas.
Well, I mean,
that ain't gonna change.
As far as I know,
no.
There are incredible
sold. Hey, f all that. Listen, you gotta remember, bro. I don't have to worry about the shelf space. I just got to sell it to the people who sell it to their people. It's a simple bet.
I mean, I'm just.
It's a simple bet.
Is this the website?
Okay, listen.
Is this your diapers?
Listen, it's a simple bet.
Are these your diapers?
I don't think you get it and understand business. right? If you think, hey, let me ask you something. Do you think Kanye was worried about what was happening with Yeezys in the store? So once he moved them to them people, he's paid. Now, I'm dealing within the world.
Why has this website not been updated since 2023?
Listen, what do you mean? For what? I don't.
When do babies learn to lift their heads?
What's wrong with that?
Why is tummy time so important for the newborn baby? Did you write these articles?
What's wrong with that?
It just seems weird that you wouldn't update the website for 2 years.
What's wrong with, well, again, let's get back to the question, to the challenge. Since you questioning it,
what?
Look, dude, you don't even operate on the level of doing business like that. You deal with this shit.
Well, the thing about my business is that it's an actual, real business.
Adam, you don't want me to talk about your business.
This seems largely hypothetical.
Okay, well, look, let's make a bet. Nigga, this shit right here, let's talk about it. Since you want to talk, let's talk about it. You got 5 motherfuckers sitting at a table. Let's keep it, since we talking about it. You want to go there. Now, that other bet is still on the table. Because remember, from what you see and what I see is 2 total different things. You got 5 motherfuckers at a table. Let's say they 200 a pop, that's 1,000. But they moving 70, 80,000 fucking views. Motherfucker. That shit you doing with these cats in the news and the other shit is not generating no money, bro.
You don't think? No. I will allow you that delusion.
We'll leave it alone.
In the real world, No Jumper is a pretty successful
I didn't say No Jumper. We're not talking about what it is. We're talking about right now. 5 niggas at a table, 200 a pop. They pay what? 2,500 per million? That's what it is?
No.
Something like that?
Definitely not.
Huh? What is it?
More.
What? Let's be real, bro.
I mean, I'm not going to say
that shit's upside down.
No, it's fine.
Tap.
So you think I'm just running the news and doing all these podcasts for free, or that we're losing money?
I'm willing to bet that news shit with all them people, 5, 6 people sometime, yes, I don't think it's profitable. Them.
You're wrong. But that's okay.
Well, you're wrong, but that's okay.
So where can we buy these diapers?
You're wrong. That's okay.
Listen,
how many you want to buy?
You can't say these dumbass arguments to me and not expect me to start going a little bit on your made up businesses.
Okay, let's make a bet on what generated more. I tell you what.
No, sure.
Let's pick a month.
Do you have any financial documents?
Let's pick the month of January.
Do you have any financial documents?
Let's pick the month of January. Let's bet $100,000 Incredible Diapers in the month of January generated more money than fucking No Jumper.
How much money did it generate?
Fuck all that. Let's bet.
Well, I would love to see financial documents about it.
Let's bet before we do it.
I don't want to bet. Okay. I would just ask
well, when you ready to bet.
Are you going to produce any financial documents about Incredible?
We betting 100?
No, I'm okay.
Listen,
I would just rather you just provide
understand
it.
This.
Right.
Understand.
But I know you probably don't see the comments because you say you don't read the comments, but
what?
I'm expressing something that a lot of people say in the comments.
I'm not worried about what people say. Them is just people.
But I feel like I have to speak on behalf of the comments.
Those are just people. What I'm telling you is
people who want people who watch this podcast.
I understand the real world. I understand how business works and operates. It's a bunch of products I can put in front of you, and you'll be like, what the fuck is that? And this dude right here tell you.
From profile and manifest management to hazardous and non-hazardous waste handling, Republic Service.
All right, y'all, we back with another reaction right here on ABP Reactions, and everybody has been wondering, what's up with the David case, man? What is going on? Well, it just entered a new phase. Let's find out what's happening.
Over the last few months, the David Spelled D4VD case has moved through a lot of different stages. At first, it was intense online speculation about what really happened to 14-year-old Celeste, with constant discussion and headlines coming at us fast. Then it shifted into something more serious: suspect status, sealed records, law enforcement signaling accountability. And after that, things seem to quiet down, at least publicly. But quiet doesn't mean nothing is happening, because there's been movement behind the scenes. A key witness connected to the investigation was taken into custody before later posting bail. A witness who also happens to be a social media influencer, frequently photographed with David. At the same time, family members are fighting court orders tied to the case. And then there's the Tesla, because something has shifted there as well. Ownership of the car has changed, and new questions are now being raised about what evidence may or may have not been preserved. But here's the part that changes everything. Newly unsealed court documents now describe David as the target in a Los Angeles County grand jury investigation tied to Celeste's death. Not a person of interest, target. The filings state he may have committed a criminal offense in California, which is of course where this heinous crime against this little girl happened. And in these filings, they specifically reference one count of murder. And this is pulled directly from the court documents for this case. David hasn't been arrested or charged in a crime yet. However, when prosecutors label someone a target inside a grand jury proceeding, that tells you where the investigation is pointing. When you take a step back and look at everything together, this no longer feels like the same chapter we were in a few months ago. It feels like a transition. It feels like the case has entered a new phase. But what exactly does that new phase mean for the investigation and for David himself?
What does it mean?
Now, it's almost been 3 months since we last talked about this story. Crazy how fast time flies. At the time, the case felt like it had reached a peak. Suspect status, autopsy records sealed, law enforcement publicly signaling accountability. There were a lot of things we covered. But since then, even though things seemed quiet on the surface, there have been subtle shifts happening behind the scenes. Before we dive deeper into what this new phase means, let's go back to where we left off, because that context, of course, matters. In the last video we made, we discussed how investigators had labeled him a suspect.
Nigga, this shit was on fire a couple months ago and it got quiet. So it gotta be something going on. I know they can't just sweep this under the rug. There's no way people are gonna accept that. So I know they have to land. This is a high profile case. Like, it's for sure. Like, this shit was all over media, everywhere. So they have to figure out who did, because it don't make sense. Nothing makes sense but for it to be him or one of his homies. It don't make sense. Now they gotta prove it though. Can they prove it is the thing?
That information came from a source with direct knowledge of the investigation, and from that same report, we also learned that David was not cooperating with law enforcement at that point in time. We also talked about law enforcement sources indicating that investigators believe more than one person may have been involved in what was done to Celeste, and that was a major shift in the tone of the case. At that point, it didn't feel like this was about just one person anymore. It feels like investigators were widening the net, trying to understand whether responsibility extended beyond a single individual. And the question, of course, naturally became who else was there? Who crossed paths with Celeste before this? Who might have known something connected to that as well? We learned that the timeline itself may have been a very different one from what people originally assumed. A law enforcement source stated that Celeste may have been deceased for months, dating back to the spring of 2025, even though her remains weren't discovered until September 2025. So that gap raised a lot of questions because we still don't have clear answers about what happened during that period of time. And honestly, that part of the case was one of the most difficult pieces to process. I mean, we're talking about a gap of months. That's not a small window. That's an entire stretch of time where something happened and we still don't fully understand what. We also talked about these sealed autopsy records. As some of you might remember, the LAPD went to a judge and successfully obtained a court order to seal everything connected to Celeste's autopsy. That included the cause of death, the manner of death, the autopsy findings, physical evidence, essentially the entire file.
Now, they don't want nobody to know what's going on, man. They want to keep this shit under wraps. They want to keep this under wraps. They want to keep it away from us, man. They don't want us to know shit. I think we all know them. Come on, man. If you walk like a duck, quack like a duck. Nigga, this shit, it all leads to, bro. Damn. But, again, you gotta prove it. You gotta prove it. Because we see a lot of cases where you would think it's the boyfriend or it's the guy. He's a sicko for one, mess with a little 14-year-old girl. He's a sicko. So, and look at his whole get down. All the murder shit, pushing coffins at his shit. He does have an infatuation with death, but then sometimes people could prey on that, knowing that if I commit this crime, everybody gonna think it's him. So, godly, it's a tricky one, man. It could be one of his sick homeboys. We don't know much about his friend group. To this day, they don't talk about his homeboys. Only thing we know is his manager. What is his circle of friends like? What is that like? Like, what do they be doing? I don't know nothing about him as an artist. Never heard his music a day in my life.
According to the detective behind that request, the reason was to protect the integrity of the investigation, especially given how high profile the case had become. He also stated that releasing those details could expose witnesses or informants who are cooperating with law enforcement in the case. And most importantly, investigators formally described this as a murder investigation. Now, given the circumstances, we already knew that, right? But this was the first time it was officially put on record. So that's where things stood at the time, and that's what we last covered in the video that I made. There were a lot of heavy developments, strong signals from investigators, and then silence. But silence doesn't always mean stagnation. because over the past few weeks, things have happened that suggest this case isn't sitting still at all. Let's start with what happened on January 23rd, just a few weeks ago. It begins with a social media influencer by the name of Neil Langston, someone who's been photographed around David over the past year and who had already been identified as a key grand jury witness in this investigation. From what's publicly visible, they appear to be friends. How close exactly are they?
Wait. Why is he, or is that some AI shit? Why is he in some, wait, what's going on here? They arrested him?
We don't really know the details. At least they're close enough to take this photo together where David's shirt says, "Sounds gay?" And why is old boy smiling in his mugshot like that? I have a lot of questions.
Why is he in a mugshot? What is this? Wait, what is going on? What the fuck?
What we do know is this. In late January, Langston was arrested in Montana, and that's because he had an out-of-state warrant after failing to appear as a witness in Los Angeles. So basically, he was expected to show up and testify in this case, and he didn't for whatever reason. County jail records show he was taken into custody on January 22nd. Shortly after, the Los Angeles Times confirmed that a judge had issued the warrant after he repeatedly declined to testify before the grand jury. Neil was eventually transported back to Los Angeles and released on a $60,000 bond.
Langston, what are you running from, brother? What is Langston running from? They just want to talk to you, my guy. What do you know? What do y'all think Langston knows, man? Langston said, leave me up out of this shit. God damn, what if Langston and him are in this together? What if Langston did it? What if we don't see, we starting to hear about the people around him now. Make this make sense, man. Make this make sense.
Now, grand jury proceedings are confidential, so we don't really know what was ultimately discussed or whether he testified once he returned. But here's the key part that stands out, to me at least. Grand juries don't usually issue out-of-state warrants unless testimony is considered important. Basically, they don't go through the process of tracking someone down across state lines unless they believe that person has information they need. Now, that doesn't automatically mean involvement. It could mean...
Wait a minute. What if they're lovers? What if Langston and him got like a relationship and he couldn't take it no more? Seeing a young girl around and him giving his attention to the young girl. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Langston. I mean, hey, man, look at these pictures. They're very suspect to you two. A lot of suspect pictures they've been showing us right now.
Online context, communication, movement, something he saw, something he heard, perhaps. I mean, they were friends after all, or possibly more than friends.
Wait a minute. See what I'm saying? What? Nigga, no homeboys take a picture like this. Oh, and that makes sense to why he's running. Cause why are you running, nigga? Like, why you? Oh, you was in on it, brother. You probably did it, or you was in on it.
According to some of his fans on Reddit. But the fact that the court wanted his appearance tells you his testimony mattered to some extent. And that's the piece I'm most curious about. Why? In early February, just a few weeks ago, TMZ published a clip showing Neil Langston walking into court in connection with the Celeste Rivas investigation.
Do you think David is innocent?
Again, that footage doesn't tell us what was said inside the courtroom, but it does confirm that this process is actively unfolding. Obviously, we don't know what his level of involvement is here, or even if there's one beyond just being called as a witness. But what we do know from previous reports is that investigators were bringing in multiple witnesses as part of this entire case and process. And here's the thing, right? When someone operates at the level that David was, especially in the music industry, since there were a lot of people around him, managers, friends, tour staff, collaborators, etc., there could have been people who saw some things. So the fact that witnesses are being called isn't so strange, and it also doesn't automatically mean guilt. It does, however, mean investigators are building context. Now, a lot of people did question why he initially declined to testify, and I'm very curious about that as well. But the reality is there's a lot of reasons why someone might hesitate in a situation like this, whether it's legal advice, fear of saying the wrong thing, or simply not wanting to be dragged into something this serious, whatever. Now, the witness situation wasn't the only thing that happened, because around that same time, this investigation extended itself into David's actual family. According to the Los Angeles Times, his father, mother, and brother, who all live in Texas, were served grand jury subpoenas tied to this investigation. So basically, California prosecutors want them to testify in this case. But instead of just going along with it, the family pushed back. They went to court in Texas and argued that forcing them to testify in California would violate their due process rights. Meaning,
damn. But now your parents in Texas, you done did some shit out here. I wonder what he's telling his parents. Like, what is the real story? Do y'all think he is telling the truth to his parents? Like, Mom, you know, because it happens. A nigga tell his mama, Mom, I fucked up. I fucked up. I did this. Do y'all think he told the truth? Wherever the truth may be. Whether he fucked up, whether his gay lover, if they are gay lovers, his boyfriend fucked up, whether they fucked up together, whether she overdosed, allegedly, that was one of the stories they were saying, and he got nervous, and y'all think he told his parents the truth? And then now his parents like, hell no, we're not gonna tell on our son, we don't wanna, what do y'all think?
in simple terms, they were challenging whether the legal procedure was being handled correctly in their case. However, that challenge didn't change much because on February 9th, the court actually denied it. So as far as we know, they're still expected to show up and testify. And I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that his immediate family was being pulled into all this, it made me pause for a second because you don't usually see investigators bring in parents and siblings this early in the process. Now later on during, let's say, a trial, sure, you might see family testify about someone's character, who they are, their upbringing, things like that. But this isn't that. This is still the investigative phase. And when the immediate family is being brought in at this stage, it usually means investigators believe there's something relevant here, whether that's timeline clarification, communication records, travel details, financial movement, whatever it may be. Again, that doesn't mean wrongdoing, but it does mean that they think there's information in that circle that matters to the case. And when an investigation starts expanding outward like that, from friends to family, it's usually a sign that they're trying to map the full environment around a person. Not just what happened, but who knew what and when things actually happened. And that's the part that stands out, at least to me. Through all this, by the way, it's important to remember what this case is actually about. A 14-year-old girl, not a grown woman like a lot of these irresponsible platforms are saying. A 14-year-old little girl, a child, lost her life. That's the center of all this. So just keep that in mind as we go through these details. Now, outside of the official court documents and mainstream news reports, there have also been independent updates coming from a private investigator who's been digging into this case on his own. And what he uncovered has to do with the Tesla, the very car where Celeste was found. On its own, it may not seem all that significant, but when you place that next to David now being described as a target in this investigation, that information I believe deserves some attention. So let's take a closer look at what's going on with the Tesla. So the private investigator's name is Steve Fisher, and we've talked about some of his findings before. Now in late January, he posted something that caught my attention. Now according to Steve, who did some investigative work, the car was only held by the LAPD for about 48 hours for evidence processing. Now he says that it was released around September 10th, just 2 days after discovery, and then sent back to the impound lot. To support that claim, he shared what he described as a release receipt, showing the vehicle was cleared and available for pickup around that exact date, which, if accurate, suggests that from that point forward, the car was no longer being held as active evidence. It was sitting in storage, and that timeline matters because if the vehicle was released on September 10th, that would mean it was no longer in police custody before Celeste had even been publicly identified. And I'm not gonna lie, that's where I kind of pause. Not as an accusation, just as a timing question. Because usually when a vehicle is directly tied to an active homicide investigation, especially one that's being presented to a grand jury, you'd expect it to remain secured for as long as investigators think they might need it. Now that doesn't automatically mean 48 hours is not enough time to process any evidence they might find, because if forensic processing was completed thoroughly, they can of course release property. But without clarity on what was collected and documented in that window, the timing naturally stands out, at least to me. Now this is...
Do y'all think by now they done figured out what happened? And that's why they being so quiet? Like, nigga, we got all the shit we need. Because I don't think this David kid is like a smart, like, clearly, listen, a body in the car in front of your house down the street, you're not really a smart motherfucker. You're not a smart motherfucker at all. Man, what the fuck, man? So I know people will start giving certain motherfuckers too much credit. like he's gonna beat this. I think they have what they need. They just get it. In order to put somebody away, you gotta have a strong ass case. They probably trying to send that nigga for good. They probably trying to get that nigga life. So we need all the shit. We need all when it started, how it started, what all have y'all been doing, who was involved, who all knew about it, who all condoned this shit, who all, nigga, when her body came missing, where did he go, who did he call, who helped him, all kind of shit. I think they about to wipe the floor with this nigga. When it's all said and done, they know it's him. It don't make no sense. It gotta be him or a gay lover. A gay lover. This is a new player, y'all. He got a gay lover.
Of concern to me because for anyone who doesn't remember, Celeste was identified on September 16, 2025, roughly a week after her remains were discovered. So while the public was still trying to understand who she was, the vehicle connected to her death was already out of police custody, according to Steve Fisher, who provided receipts. And according to Steve, the car also sat in storage for months, accumulating roughly $10,000 in fees. It was eventually scheduled to go to auction, meaning if no one stepped in, the vehicle would have been sold off. But then something interesting happened. In the final hours before that auction, somebody came and picked it up. Not weeks before, not even days before, hours. So it either had to be David himself, which would seem unlikely given everything going on, or someone legally authorized to act on his behalf. And once again, the timing, of course, matters. This was the car that Celeste was found in. This was a vehicle that had already been processed, released, sitting in storage, accumulating fees, and right before it goes public, somebody comes and picks it up. And then came a follow-up to this particular information. According to Steve, the vehicle wasn't just retrieved. Ownership was apparently transferred. Steve stated that someone presented paperwork and legally took possession and moved the car out of David's name.
This is baseball with nothing held back.
Pittsburgh is built to perform. From America's #1 selling floor jacks to sockets, ratchets, and shop equipment, Pittsburgh delivers the reliability you need at prices that can't be beat. Only at Harbor Freight.
Here's what's different about GCU. It's one of the country's biggest universities with over 360 programs shaped by industry leaders. GCU's campus ranks among the top in the nation. Most of all, GCU cares about affordability. The average federal and private loan debt for GCU undergrads is lower than the average for private nonprofit four-year universities. Find your purpose at GCU.
Who the hell would want to take over ownership for that? Who the hell would take over ownership for that? All right, let's keep watching.
He claims to have verified that through DMV records. Now again, this information comes from a private investigator's public statements, not the LAPD. But if that sequence of information is all accurate, that's where a lot of questions come in. If a vehicle is central to a murder investigation, what's standard protocol? How long is evidence typically retained? Is there a minimum hold period in high-profile cases like this? Or does it simply depend on whether forensic processing is completed? And is 48 hours typical? Because a vehicle isn't just one piece of evidence, it's a contained environment. Because here's the thing, this right here isn't just a car. This was the last known physical space connected to a 14-year-old girl whose death is being investigated as a murder.
Who the hell wants to take over that car? That is tricky. That raises a fucking red flag for sure. Wait, so somebody coming to pick the car up hours before, and then you're transferring it over, and that can only be done from somebody from David's side. Why do you want it, brother? I think that everybody's asking that question, huh? That's some weird shit.
Murder. So when you really think about that, fingerprints, DNA swabs, trace fibers, digital system data, especially in a Tesla, location history, can all of that realistically be processed, documented, and preserved only within 48 hours? I guess law enforcement would know more than me, right? Maybe if the authorities prioritized this case and moved very quickly, it's of course possible. But we've also seen other major cases, like the YNW Melly case, where the vehicle the rapper was in became a major forensic battleground and remained central evidence for an extended extended period of time. I'm not saying the cases are the same, of course not. I'm saying when a vehicle is central to a murder investigation, people naturally expect thorough preservation.
Right.
The LAPD hasn't publicly detailed what was collected, when it was collected, or why the timeline made sense. So what we're left with is this sequence: discovery, 2 days later, release, months in storage, auction scheduled, last-minute retrieval, ownership transfer. When you line it up like that, it's hard not to ask questions. And again, I'm not jumping to conclusions. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I am just asking questions. I'm simply acknowledging that when you line these events up, the timing stands out. And in cases like this, timing, of course, matters. Because while the Tesla timeline is still being questioned, which has not been formally addressed by law enforcement yet, something major just became public. Newly unsealed court documents now describe David, by his real name David Burke, as the target of a Los Angeles County grand jury investigation tied to Celeste's death. Now that was the word used in these documents: target. And in grand jury language, that word carries weight. It usually means prosecutors believe they have strong evidence connecting that person to the alleged crime. Now the documents go even further. They state he may have committed a criminal offense in California, specifically one count of murder. Now pause there for a second, because up until now this case has been very quiet publicly, and we've been sitting with that silence without any real confirmation about where David stands in all of this. And here's some further context. The reason why these documents surfaced is because of the legal fight involving his parents and brother that I told you about earlier, the same family members who were ordered to appear before the grand jury.
This nigga has been off the grid. Have anybody seen, I haven't even seen a picture of like him out. You know, with somebody fighting a case like this, or, you know, these allegations, you would think you would see like people posting pictures of this nigga. Because he's a hot topic. He's a super hot topic. This case is big. I haven't even seen a picture of this nigga nowhere out. Like, where is this nigga? Is he just in hiding? He ain't coming out? You know, like TMZ, nobody caught a picture of this nigga, a fan. He's staying off the grid for sure. The question is, do y'all think he's guilty? You, watching, do you think he's guilty? Where is your mind with this right now, based off all the shit we have seen from when it started to today? Is your mind made up? Are you sitting back waiting? You 50-50, you on the fence? I don't know, man. They definitely make all roads lead to him. They got to incorporate some other players. They ain't incorporated other players to this boyfriend today. His boyfriend.
Through those documents, we also learned more about what it looked like when they found Celeste's body in the Tesla. When police opened the front trunk of the Tesla on September 8th, 2025, after a worker reported a strong smell coming from the vehicle, they found a black cadaver bag inside, which is essentially another word for a body bag. Inside that bag were Celeste's remains.
Where the hell you fucking get a body bag from?
Police partially unzipped it and found a decomposed head and torso. There was also a second bag underneath the first one, which contained the rest of her dismembered body parts. This is all in the court.
Bro, what? So it was two body bags within. The head was cut off. The body was in the rest of the bag. But then you put that bag inside the bag, and now let's put the head in with that one. Nigga, where do you get two body bags from? It gotta be Amazon, because where the fuck you buy a body bag? Temu, Amazon? I don't know. It gotta be one of those, but you can go look on his records, because who knows what store to go buy a body bag from? What store sells that?
Documents, and the details are obviously extremely grim, man. Even reading through all this is hard to process, but it's important to lay this out clearly because this isn't rumor or speculation. This is the reality of what happened to this little girl. So I guess now the question becomes, where does that leave us? Even though information has felt scarce at times, there obviously has been movement. Witnesses are being called to appear, including his friend who was taken into custody in Montana, one of his managers as well, and even his immediate family members. And now David is officially labeled as a target in this murder investigation. At the end of the day, that is progress. And whether people realize it or not, cases like this don't just freeze, they move forward. Now that could mean charges against David, or it could mean no charges. I guess we'll see, right? But one thing is clear, this case has entered a new phase. Not the speculative phase, not the social media phase, the legal phase. And I truly hope Celeste eventually gets justice because obviously no child deserves to lose their life like this. At the center of all this is still a 14-year-old girl who lost her life, man. That's what matters. Everything else, the headlines, the debates, the online theories, is secondary to that reality. I guess now we're just gonna have to wait for the legal system to do what it's designed to do.
Yeah, man. Hold on. Yes, sir. This has been a weird one from the start, man. And I think the lack of information they're giving the public sends people into, speculations that it's just him. Like I said, it hasn't been a lot of players introduced in this case. All we know is him, and then up to a certain point, they started talking about the manager, and now they're bringing in this guy who could potentially be his best friend or his gay lover, or just his homie who's close with him, his cameraman. Now you incorporated him, so it's like all roads look like him because we don't know who else is all around this shit. And just the situation makes no sense. The car in your name, a body is found with a minor that you're dealing with publicly. You're going to events with her. You're going live with her on social media. Everybody in the Discord, in your Discord, knows you deal with a minor. And the world is accepting it. You're going to shows, she's there. Your homie's accepting it. Your management accepting it. Then she mysteriously comes up dead. And not just in like a regular way. She's in your trunk. And then now we find out she's in a body bag inside of another body bag. And the head is cut off. And it's like, who the fuck does that? Where are you getting body bags from? Who the hell is cutting this little girl up? And then who's leaving a body in their own car in their name on their block? It makes no fucking sense. This is probably the world's dumbest, if it is him, the world's dumbest criminal. Like, you want to be caught. You left the car there. This wasn't like a one-day thing. You left the car there for weeks. It makes no sense, man. Let me know what y'all think. I'm going to make sure I give y'all updates as they come in. This is the latest update. It's been about 2 months before we did it, since we did a David video. So as more updates come in, as they start releasing them, LAPD definitely has been tight with the information they let it come out. And I'm sure that's because they don't want to jeopardize what they got. And you know how it go. Let me know what y'all think, though. What is really going on with this David situation, man? Rest in peace to that young girl, Celeste. I'm going to give y'all 2 seconds to smash the like. And as always, get ready for the next reaction.
Just want to welcome everyone on this special day.
Am I sensing some nerves?
It was just an accident. I was drunk. How can you even trust her?
Why are you acting like you've never done anything bad?
Please stop gossiping.
To the happy, carefree couple. Do you want to start over?
The drama, rated R.
It's time to rise. To learn with the latest tech and to gain hands-on experience. To start leading the future of healthcare.
All right, y'all, we back with another reaction right here on ABP Reactions. And right now, we finna see how police captured a killer soldier 7 years later. Let's go.
Out off of Southeast Main Street, there was a body that was found in the house, okay? We were able to say that it is Cat, okay? I'm so sorry for your loss, sir.
This is 28-year-old John Blauvelt, learning that his missing wife was discovered in an abandoned house, brutally murdered, surrounded by satanic markings. However, John had a disturbing secret he couldn't tell the interviewer that day.
Yeah, if I might put her down.
Using his military experience, he carried out a near-perfect murder that kept detectives one step behind for years. By the time investigators began to narrow in on him, John was already long gone, living in a new state, in a new house, running away with his 17-year-old girlfriend, and seemingly getting away for good.
This defies any kind of logic that I have experienced in my 62 years on this earth.
We've done more than you think, dude.
What if I told you that your cell phone did ping somewhere other than where you say you were?
Jeez. Let's get it.
It's 2:15 p.m. on October 24th, 2016. 22-year-old Katie Blauvelt is captured on CCTV inside her workplace. Her shift is soon coming to an end, and she's planning to meet her mother at 3 p.m. that same day. She leaves, calls her mother, and a selfie, unaware it's the last photo she ever takes. Not long after, her phone pings a location for the last time, and Katie disappears without a trace.
Oh, shit.
5 hours passed by. Now 7 p.m., and Katie never arrived for dinner with her mother. Worried, the mother and other family members try calling her multiple times, but her phone has no signal. At 7:48 p.m., Katie's mother reports her missing. Officers, friends, and family mobilize to look for her, and the search officially begins. But this left detectives with a critical 5-hour gap in the timeline, one they would spend months trying to piece together. 10 hours would go past without any clues about Katie's whereabouts.
A 5-hour gap, that's a nice head start. 5 hours.
Then, at 12:33 a.m., the police receive an unexpected call. One of Katie's friends is on the line, claiming he's just found her body dead inside an abandoned house deep in a nearby forest.
Centerville 911, what's the location of your emergency?
I'm at Discover Church across in the woods.
You're at Discover Church across from where?
In the woods across from it. I was worried about my friend, Katie. She went missing. She's been missing for a while now. And we came in this house that we used to hang out in. And she's in there. She's no alive.
Quickly, medics and police rush to the address of an abandoned house deep in the woods. Upon arriving at the scene,
Wait. What the fuck? Who the hell just hangs out at a house in the middle? Okay. Oh, see, we ain't got an introduction to what type of girl this was. In the middle of the goddamn woods, in a fucking abandoned house with satanic shit all over it.
Officers notice multiple graffiti markings, including apparent satanic symbols. Soon after, they identify the caller as Wayne Roper, a friend of Katie who leads them into the basement of the abandoned house. There, officers find a large concrete box sealed with plywood. When they remove the cover, they're met with a horrifying sight. Katie's body lies inside, with a knife pierced through her neck and 16 stab wounds across her body.
Oh.
The lack of struggle and the state of her clothing, with her shirt pulled up and her lower clothes missing, suggested a sexually motivated killing. All of these details point detectives straight to Wayne as their first potential suspect. But what they don't realize is that this is exactly what the killer wants them to think. Every detail of the scene has been arranged to send them chasing the wrong lead. Without realizing it, detectives have walked straight into the killer's setup. As the night went on, forensics revealed chilling details. Katie's body had been dragged to the basement, and her phone was found submerged in water to destroy it. Wayne is detained and brought in for questioning. At the moment, detectives believe they have their killer, and they're ready to push for a confession.
Let's bring in the whole friend group at this point, because who the hell all hangs out at this house in the middle of the goddamn woods? All you motherfuckers is suspects. Anybody that's in the middle of the damn woods, in an abandoned, creepy-ass house, and y'all just hanging out, chilling, y'all all weird as fuck. Bring them all in.
Wayne, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, brother. Hey, buddy. What's your name, pal? Franklin Wayne Roper. Sorry? Franklin Wayne Roper. You're Franklin or Wayne? Think about it.
At this point, Wayne believes he's been brought in to be questioned as a witness after the heartbreaking discovery, unaware that detectives are already convinced about his involvement in the murder, and any statement he makes might be used against him.
I think you know why you're here, right? Yeah. Okay. Tell me how did you meet Katie? Just from the time you met her, kind of what your relationship was, and leading up until 11:30 or so last night, okay?
I first met her, we were friends at first, and then we dated for like a month or so, and then that's whenever I moved.
Motive. This was your ex. and you wanted some more of her. She wouldn't let you have her, so that's what they could run with. Okay, so okay, all right, let's go.
The Liberty with my dad, and we stayed in contact for a little bit, and then once I left my dad's and went to North Carolina, we lost contact.
Detectives begin the interview by learning that Wayne and Katie were once together, but quickly, Wayne reveals something that would immediately put suspicion onto his name.
Maybe a year later, that Katie got married to John Waldell, and then one night,
What?
She came and hung out with us with John. It was the first time I've seen her since I moved, and since then, John offered me to move in with them, a roommate, being $200 a month. And I took it up. It was a big deal.
So you live with her and her husband?
Yeah.
What? Your ex-boyfriend moved in with... Would y'all ever move y'all ex-girlfriend in or ex-boyfriend in with you and your girl and you and your husband or your wife? That's crazy.
That's weird. It was.
When was this? Do you remember when this was?
When I lived with them? It was before June this year.
As Wayne explains that he once dated Katie and later lived with her and her husband, detectives gain another reason to suspect him: jealousy. And just as everything appears to be moving in the perfect direction for the real killer and his carefully constructed plan, Wayne makes a claim that complicates the investigation and may just be enough to ruin the killer's plan.
Living there, everything like going okay, then they started having arguments because of me, because she used to talk about me before, and she told me that he was jealous of me, and their argument started getting worse, and that was whenever he got drunk one night, and he cussed her out, and he had her in the bathroom. They were just pretty much just screaming at each other, and then from there, she ended up moving back with her mom, I think.
When did you and Katie, when you were living with John and Katie, were y'all being intimate with each other?
It was only once.
Bruh. Wait, like y'all was swinging, or you fucked her while he was gone at work? Which one was it? Oh my God.
And John was there or not there?
It was like a threesome thing.
Oh.
And
Paul.
How did that come about?
I was drunk and he was drunk, and so I did it. After that, he changed.
If true, Wayne's claims about John's violent behavior could shift suspicion towards him. But despite Wayne's accusations, something still doesn't add up. His story, with its inconsistencies and gaps, keeps raising suspicions. Because prior to this interrogation, detectives learned that on the day of Katie's death, Wayne arrived late to work, and he admits to walking near the abandoned house around the time Katie disappeared. More importantly, while at work, Wayne was aware that Katie might be inside that very house. Yet despite that suspicion, he never alerted authorities. Instead, he waited until the end of the day, went there himself, and only then called the police.
Oh, that is interesting. That is interesting. Why you didn't hit the popo first?
All of this places Wayne squarely in the crosshairs of investigators, and unknowingly pushes them further into the real killer's trap. Because in the next few minutes, the interview will take a terrifying turn, as detectives unknowingly edge closer to forcing an innocent man into confession to a brutal murder that he never committed.
Why did you call the police?
I didn't think of it at the time. I didn't.
Did you know she was dead?
No.
Why would you think the best idea is for you to walk into what turns out to be her final resting place, where somebody murdered her and dumped her down there like a piece of trash? You know why you didn't look in the bathroom?
We glanced in there with the flashlight. Like, if you're standing at the door of it, you can see in there.
You can't see in the tub. I'm telling you, I was up there in the day. Because you wasn't in the tub. This defies any kind of logic that I have experienced in my 62 years on this earth.
You look like you're gonna pass out. This is too much. I bet it is.
Get it off of you then.
I'm sure it is.
All you gotta do is lay it down.
Ooh, I know listen. In this cop's mind, his mind is made up already that nigga's guilty. And that's a fucked up situation to be in. When you know you're not guilty and you're trying to help a dead friend. I'm literally trying to search for my dead homegirl and I found her and I came to y'all to tell y'all and now y'all looking at me like I did it. And I know I didn't do it, but all signs look like I did. Only because the nigga who did it, I lived with him. He learned my mannerisms and how I move and what I do. So he was able to plant it like it was me. Damn, that's a cold one.
You lay the burden down, that's the only way you'll be forgiven. You gotta say, I messed up. Help me. That's what you gotta say. And I'll do it. But I'm not gonna do it on credit.
Detectives remained suspicious of Wayne, but with him sticking to his story and no hard evidence, they couldn't yet arrest him. Instead, they collected his DNA sample to compare with the DNA found underneath Katie's fingernails. But that's when, just a few hours after Wayne's interview, as police searched the area around the abandoned house, they stumble upon Katie's car, only a few miles from the crime scene, left abandoned in a nearby parking lot. It looked as if she had left in a hurry, but the reason her car ended up there would remain one of the biggest mysteries for the following months. Up to this point, everything was going according to the killer's plan, one designed and carried out by Katie's own husband, John Blauvelt.
So this nigga, so where is he at while all this is going on? How are they not going to the boyfriend first? Aside from this nigga who called, why are they not going at the boyfriend? Is he in the military? Is he? All right, let's keep watching.
But Wayne's comments about his jealousy pushed detectives to dig deeper. What they found was a restraining order filed months earlier after John had allegedly pulled a gun on Katie when she refused to give him her phone. For the first time, despite his efforts, officers were seriously beginning to suspect John. So the next day, on October 26th, detectives approach him at his office on the military base where he works. Their goal is simple. Hear his side of the story, verify his alibi for the day Katie died, and see how he reacts under pressure. For most perpetrators, this would be the moment everything starts to fall apart. But John isn't like the rest. He would play it perfectly.
Oh, he's gonna take the victim role. His wife, I'm crying. Okay. Listen. Anytime we got something to do with military, for some reason, in all these reactions, they always on some crazy shit. I ain't gonna lie. Anytime military's involved, they did it.
Alright, well, they're out off of Southeast Main Street. There was a body that was found in a house, okay, an abandoned house. And at this point, we're able to say that it is Captain, okay? I'm so sorry for your loss, sir. At this time, we are investigating, and we investigate every death the same way. We start with homicide and work our way from there, okay? What the restraining order deal, what's the deal with that?
This is a charge that I got back in February, domestic violence first degree.
Do you know if she had any issues with anybody? Anybody that wouldn't hurt her or anything like that?
No, and I know that she's been dating around and, it's whatever, because I've been too, but...
Your glasses can change the way you see the world, so choose yours wisely. Find your perfect pair at Warby Parker, starting at $95, including prescription lenses. I'm not an astronaut.
I'm not an astronaut.
You're a great scientist. You'll figure it out. The world is counting on you.
So, I met an alien.
No Notice how John intentionally directs detectives towards the fact that Katie is dating around. Him pointing this out isn't a coincidence. It's a strategy. By controlling the narrative this early, John is quietly planting a story that will protect him later.
Did you work this Monday?
Mm-hmm.
What time did you get off Monday?
Like 2:30ish, 2, I don't know.
Did you stop anywhere on the way home?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, why were you looking for Katie?
For Cheyenne. Cheyenne's destroyed right now, and I'm just trying to help her out.
Who do you know that would want to do harm to her?
Not nobody.
Do you know there's a guy that used to live with you, redhead fella?
Redhead?
Yeah.
Wayne?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's his story?
Just regular dude, good guy.
Friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do for the Army?
Well, right now I just sit in this office, this small office right now. Because of the civil investigation, all of my recruiting duties have been suspended.
Are you familiar with this abandoned house?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the spot.
What's the spot?
Hangout spot. Am I being charged with a crime? Because he's recorded me, and I'm not comfortable with that.
Guilty conscience. And here we go. Now you're finna be on their radar because of that question right there. They're gonna be on your ass.
No, if I am, I'd like to contact a lawyer. Because this is uncomfortable.
Okay. You're not being charged.
Okay. Not right now.
It was at that moment he fucked up.
As the interview ends, John does something counterintuitive. He defends Wayne, the man he's secretly framing. It's a manipulation tactic known as reverse empathy. By showing compassion, he makes himself appear harmless and trustworthy. John's first interrogation had gone almost perfectly, leaving detectives with little they could use against him. Still, they couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. With no evidence to hold him, he was let go, and officers would turn to those closest to John and Katie, their friends and family, unaware that John had already influenced them. Detectives started with Crystal, Katie's best friend, and at the time, also John's roommate. John knew exactly what to expect here. In his interrogation, he had already planted the idea that Katie was dating around, and Crystal, being one of Katie's close friends, also knew about her dating habits. His hope was that she would unknowingly reinforce this misdirection, steering suspicion towards anyone but him.
Alright, October 28th, 2016, 4:47 p.m., Simpson Police Department. And like I said, all I ask is that you don't tell John you're up here. And he's not the only suspect. You know, there's other people we're talking to and questioning. So, has he made any statements about if I go to jail for Katie's murder?
He's just, he said that, it sucks for him because he feels like he's gonna get in trouble for it. But, he's like, I didn't do this, I'm tired of people coming after me.
Right.
See, me and John actually really do get along. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie about him at all. I'm gonna tell you the straight up truth. If he's acting weird, I'm gonna tell you, but he wasn't. I was thinking last night about it. I really was. Just maybe a split second thought that it could have been John. But ever since Katie's gone missing, he's made sure that there was more than one person around him. At the time that Katie died at 8 o'clock at night, all three of us were sitting in the living room. From 5 o'clock when he came back home.
It was a 5-hour gap. It was a lot of time, man. It was a lot of time in between.